Okay, great. Good stuff. We are live. We are live and we are on. Fantastic. Okay, good. Let's just quickly see if this is all coming through correctly on here. Let's have a look. Wow, that is one fluffy cat. We have a cat, so yeah. Right, Q&A is going to start any second now. Let's go. Let's look on my channel here. View your channel, see if I am live. Yeah, appear to be. Yeah, that's cool. That works. Okay, guys. So we are live for today's very, very first weekly Q&A. First of all, guys, welcome. Welcome to the live Q&A. Now, this Q&A is literally a chance for me to answer questions that have come through throughout the week. I'm live currently on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, but also right here on Instagram. Now, anybody's here on Instagram, if you want to ask any questions during this live, then please do head over to YouTube, okay, or Twitch or Kick, whatever your preferred platform is, and then I can see your questions coming through there, okay? So yeah, jump on one of the above aforementioned platforms and I can address any other questions. But I've got a whole load of really cool questions that have come through today over the course of the last few days, and I'm going to address them. Now, this is not just fitness questions, okay? I do have some really, really good fitness questions here as well. But there's everything here from politics, from family life, from personal life, from, well, there's just a whole host of different things here. So it'll be cool just to run through these and see what we're dealing with. Okay, right, so jumping straight in off the bat. Okay, now first question is from, hang on a second. Let's get some of these up. Okay, see if I can, right. All right, first question is from Shane Allen. Okay, Shane asked me if I could pick one exercise only for every single muscle group, what would it be and why? Okay, really good question. What this question really aims to answer is it's about efficiency. So what are the most efficient moves? And efficiency, I guess, in terms of exercise selection can quite easily be defined by what exercises give the most bang for your buck, okay? So let's start from the top, right? The most important one, chest, okay? My number one move would be a incline dumbbell press. As much as I love the bench press, you know, it comes with a high amount of risk. Should be now. That's frustrating. Should be now. If someone could double check that the sound is working on YouTube, I'll be very grateful. I'm guessing it went out when I left the room. It's saying there's a battery issue. That's frustrating. I've literally been charging it all day. This is the problem, guys. This is frustrating. I don't know why. That's not very happy. Let's see if I can plug that in and get some connectivity. Be right back. Get us back in business. Okay, let's see. Shane, if you could just let me know if that's working now, bud, that would be amazing. That should be sorted. Okay, hopefully we're back on live on YouTube with audio. Let me know. Anyway, Instagram here, still working great. Yeah, that's good. So, okay, so historical figureheads, celebrities, who would I invite for dinner and why and what would I serve? Okay, so I'm going to imagine it's me and Freya, obviously, hosting. I'm assuming they don't need to be deceased. Well, I guess if they're historical figureheads. That makes it more challenging. I'm going to come back to that one. I'll come back to that one. Historical figureheads. The next question from the same gentleman, Sir Bunce. Okay, I got one answer this straight off the bat. If you could create a new piece of gym equipment that doesn't currently exist, what would it be? And how would it transform the way people work out? Okay, great question. Okay, so obviously it's going to be a machine that it grows the penis. Personally, it would be a very popular machine for myself and a lot of my friends who struggle with the same issue. I'm in part of a group of men. We meet up on a weekly basis whereby we kind of discuss our experiences of life through suffering, having tiny penises. Micro penises is actually the technical term for it. I mean, it's tough, but we take each day as it comes, one day at a time, dealing with a micro penis. But for that reason, if I could invent one piece of gym equipment that doesn't currently exist, it would be a penis enlarging resistance machine. How would it change the way people work out? Well, I think we'd have a lot less people in the gym, for one, because a lot of us are in the gym because we have tiny penises. So I think if we had this machine, we could get people, maybe they could buy them for their home use, and gyms would actually not be nearly as busy because there'll be a lot more of us kind of not having to compensate by getting big and muscular due to our tiny micro penises. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. In all seriousness, the machine that I would invent would be one that actually, and get this right, this would be so cool. I've seen it in laboratory settings, I've seen it in sports science settings, but basically a machine which factors both concentric and eccentric resistance. Okay, so if you imagine a bicep curl machine, okay, so imagine a seated bicep curl machine and you're in here and you're curling, okay, I would love to have a machine built that factored resistance on the concentric, but then also engage resistance on the eccentric. So you're pulling on the way up and you're pushing on the way down. Similarly with like a press, imagine like a seated machine press, tension on, push, tension, pull. So it's working both concentric and eccentric phases and opposing muscle groups. That would be amazing for efficiency. I think it would provide a novel stimulus. We could explore, what the effect of that is, but mostly just efficiency, but also from like a muscular balance perspective, from a rehabilitative perspective. I can see so many contexts by which a machine which factored that, both resistance on the concentric and resistance on the eccentric, would be super, super valuable. So yeah, I mean, that has so many applications. I can picture it in an overhead movement situation, so pulling down and then pushing back up. I can think of it as a push-pull, think of it in biceps, think of it in, oh my goodness, quads and hamstrings. Imagine being on a leg extension machine, which you extended through quad and then pulled through hamstring. I've seen that, like I say, in a sports lab setting, but I've never seen it in a commercial situation. It'd be phenomenal. So anybody watching this with any access to, this level of product development, make sure you send your royalties through to me. Okay, this is a political question next up. And this comes from Top Angel Guy. Josh, always good to see your questions come through. Okay, what's your take or view on Trump? And I have an answer that you may not anticipate for this one, guys. Here's the thing, right? So I don't really keep close tabs on American politics. I just don't. Okay, obviously being in England, to be quite honest with you, I know it's a shit show over there, in as much, if not more, a way, as it is over here. My view on Trump is the same view that I have on politicians over here. And that is, go one step further, ask yourself the question, and not to get too philosophical and deep here, but ask yourself the question, like, how much of your life is being impacted by the control that you relinquish by having either faith or distrust in politicians, and the degree to which they govern your quality of life. So if I have an opinion on a politician because I don't agree with their policies, because I don't agree with what they stand for ethically, morally, if I don't believe that their policies are in favor of my quality of life, usually these are things that are gripes for people, and the reason why they either like or dislike politicians is the perceived effect that they're having on their life, either through direct impact of policy changes impacting work-life quality or whatever it is, taxation, or even just the propaganda that comes with, spreading viewpoints, spreading prejudice, and so on and so forth. My view of it is, the more you choose to be impacted and the more you choose to engage with the reliance of what a politician and the effect they have on you, the less control you have of your own life. Okay? I try to disengage almost entirely from what's going on in the world, because I believe that more so than the impact of a politician and their policies, the bigger impacting factor in my life is my own self-agency, what I do on a daily basis, the world that I create in my own life for my family. And I think a lot of people put way too much weight on what's going on in their country or globally. They hinge on it way too much. They put way too much emphasis on the impact that politicians have on their lives, and it's almost like, for many people, it's a safety net because it means they don't need to take responsibility. That might be controversial, but I do believe that to be true. I think if you have your own thing going and you're focused on your own path, and you tell yourself that you are capable of creating the world that you want and that any barriers or obstacles can be overcome, then I think the impact that politicians have in your life are actually far less. I think the bigger impact comes from the perception that they have an impact and making that molehill into a mountain. That's my view. So I've dodged around the question a little bit there. The truth is, I don't really have a strong view on Trump, but I know that he's an incredibly polarizing individual in the States, particularly. He is globally. I mean, he's a laughing stock over here, to be honest, in the UK. Most of American politics is a laughing stock, to be quite frank. I'm sure many Americans here would agree. But I don't pay it much mind. I don't have a strong opinion on him. I don't have anything good to say about him at all. But I don't think I have anything good to say about any American politician in the current day. So that's that. Okay, got a question here. So what work, this is from Muscle 58, what work do you do with Eli, the brand man? Okay, so Eli, the brand man / CR2 talent, Miami. Has become a very good friend of mine. One of my closest, most loyal friends. Eli approached me in 2019 after I'd won at this point 4 bodybuilding shows off the back to back, and came second in the British Championships. And I was in Dubai and I was doing some Instagram lives, I think it was at the time. I was in Dubai in Binus, I was training and prepping for 2 more shows, which incidentally I won and came second in. So 2019 was a great year for bodybuilding, really good year. I had 7 shows, came second in 2 of them, and won 5 of them in various different categories and classes. This is when my life was really about bodybuilding. Anyway, Eli approached me and he messaged me on Instagram and he said, look dude, I like what you're putting out there. You've got a great positive energy. You've got a great physique. I can see that you've got a reasonable size. Well, I had a very small Instagram following at the time, like a couple of thousand. He said, I see you're well connected, but it'd be really good to introduce you to the American audience and to come over to the States, and I can show you a bit more about what's going on stateside with the fitness industry and so on and so forth. And anyway, he invited me to come over to put him through what he calls his boot camp, which is fucking brutal. I cannot stress this enough. What Eli put me through, especially on that first trip to Miami, it's almost like trial through fire. It was an extreme 5 days of hard training, physically, but more importantly, a complete and utter mental state rebuild. Eli taught me to really engage with my capabilities, and he has been absolutely instrumental to teaching me how to be comfortable with what I bring to the table, be comfortable with what my strengths are, and to lean into those strengths and to utilize those strengths and to have far more self-confidence and self-belief. And that's something that I work on still daily with Eli. Eli has been a supporter from day one. Now we're in 2024, 5 years on, I'm going to Miami again in November. I go roughly now every 5 months, I think it is on average, 5 or 6 months, more than twice a year, typically. And every time I go, he does great work for me and with me. He's become a great friend. So when I'm out there, we chill, we train, we have these deep conversations where we look at, what the future looks like, how we optimize X, Y, and Z, what direction we want to go, and how we're going to help these people, how we're going to help those people, what the world needs more of. And it's just an intense, usually 4 or 5 days where it's physical training, psychological skills training, and then also we get great content. He's a phenomenal guy behind a camera lens, particularly with still images. Some great shots that we've had over the last few years, particularly on Miami Beach. But also inside the gym and just getting content for training content when we're in the gyms as well. A tremendous environment, Miami, for fitness enthusiasts, for fitness coaches, for influencers, and so on and so forth. Very densely populated with guys who are pushing the envelope with their own fitness and building their fitness businesses. And I always come away from Miami feeling energized and ready to push, having met new people, having new ideas, feeling inspired. And so, on pretty much a daily basis, Eli's on my case with some sort of, supportive but in your face kind of message to fucking level up. And I thank him for that. And he's always very, very honest. So hopefully that answers your question. What work do I do with Eli? lots of things, but he has been actually absolutely instrumental to my professional and personal growth since 2019. So thank you, Eli. I really appreciate you. Okay, another question here from John. Okay, John asked this question, and so has Josh. The same sort of questions. They've asked what my cat's name is, and how the cat is doing, and whether the cat sleeps in bed or does he have his own bed. All right, our cat is called Fairy McGee. Well, no, he's not. He's not called Fairy McGee. Our cat is called Gizmo. I call him Fairy McGee because it's a fucking way better name. He's not my cat really, technically. He's my step cat. So he was Freya's cat before I met Freya. He's like 7, and Freya and me have been together for 5 years now. So you know what it's like, right? I'm sure men watching this will be able to empathise. Cats. This cat particularly. I've had my own cats and I've fucking adored them, right? But other people's cats, they just don't hit in the same way as your own cat. And I've never really found that true connection with this cat, right, Fairy McGee. It's kind of like a love-hate. I tolerate him. Sounds really bad, but I do tolerate him at best, okay? He's hard work. For me, I find him hard work. He could be super affectionate, but at the same time, I could be walking up the stairs and he'll just give me a swipe and scratch my ankle, and it's like, bro, what the fuck? For no good reason. He's very pretty. He's a half forest cat, I believe. So he's really bushy and he's very pretty, and he fucking knows it. And because he knows it, he can be a little bit of a cunt. So yeah, for that reason, I don't give him the best treatment. He's definitely not allowed to sleep on the bed. Fuck that for a laugh. No chance. He's usually downstairs in the kitchen at night time, or they're nocturnal cats, so he's usually out hunting. He'll catch animals in the night. He'll leave them out on the doorstep by the back door. He's a very, very instinctively predatory cat, to say the least. So yeah, he does not sleep on the bed. Let's have a look here. Okay. I took screenshots of the questions, but I accidentally cut off half of the questions, which is fucking annoying. So I am just trying to see how I can access these questions. Because both of my devices are currently on. Okay, here we go. Where are we here? So next question is, how does one maximize maintaining as much muscle whilst dropping fat? This is from Rupert89. Rupert89, okay. Very good question. And this is one that I think a lot of people would love to know the answer to. Cutting body fat whilst maintaining as much muscle tissue as possible. Okay, now, the first thing I'll say is, a lot of people get concerned that they've lost muscle tissue when they perform a cut. They start off at, let's say, 100 kilos, they get down to, 75 kilos, and they look at themselves and they feel small, okay? The reality is, most people who have 25 kilos of body fat to lose, at the start of the process, they overestimate how much muscle mass they have. And so, in a lot of cases, people haven't actually lost muscle, they've just lost fat, but they didn't have nearly as much muscle mass in the beginning to start off with. So let's just accept that first of all. The majority of people overestimate their beginning levels of muscle mass, and they underestimate how much body fat they have to lose. Now, in terms of actually maximizing the amount of retention that you have, there's a few things to factor, okay? Now, first things first, if you are somebody who uses anabolic steroids, okay, your ability to maintain muscle tissue in a caloric deficit is greater. These are just irrefutable facts, okay? You can hold more muscle if you are maintaining a higher level of testosterone around the clock, okay? So even with a harsh diet, you're more likely to maintain all of your tissue when you're taking anabolics. For everybody else, all factors are considered for both naturals and assisted athletes.
But if you want to maximize the amount of muscle you hold, there's a few things that you have to factor. Number one is sufficient protein in your diet. Okay, it's better in this case to actually overestimate your protein requirements than underestimate. The more protein you have around the clock, the better your ability to maintain anabolism, the better your ability to retain positive nitrogen balance, the better your ability to retain all of your lean muscle fiber as you cut down. So what does that look like? I would say 2 grams of protein per pound of lean tissue. So if we take that 100 kilo individual again that we just talked about, you know, he's only got 75 kilos lean. So for him, he's looking at least 150 grams of protein, at least 100 grams of protein. A better score would be 2 to 3 grams of lean tissue weight. So that's the bare minimum, right? So 2 grams, per kilo of lean tissue. I would recommend 3. Okay, so in the same instance, it would be about 225 grams, of protein for that individual. So 3 grams of protein per kilo of lean tissue will be sufficient to retain as much muscle mass as possible. Another huge factor to consider is your training. Okay, guys, by the way, like I've said it before, right? So you need to jump on YouTube if you've got questions, okay? Because there's so many questions coming through here. I will do a quick skim through. Okay, yeah, I'm just seeing here some questions coming through on YouTube. Some really good ones. I'm going to come back to the ones on YouTube first. So guys, jump in on the questions on YouTube and I'll go through those, and then right at the end I'll look through a few of the questions here on Insta as well. But yeah, back to the question at hand. In terms of training style to retain as much muscle tissue as possible, super, super important, guys, to instill the mindset that you cannot get weaker. Okay, principally, what got you the muscle is what's going to keep the muscle. So if you're training at an intensity whereby, you know, let's take for instance, like a bench press. Okay, let's say that you got to a point where you're working with 3 sets of 10 with 100 kilos. If you go into your cut with the expectation that you're going to lose strength, and on week 1 you decide, oh, do you know what? I've got less energy. I'm going to start working with 90 kilos. Okay, instantly that mindset shift where you're not pushing the envelope with weight progression is going to impact your physique and your ability to retain muscle tissue. Let me be really explicit here. The amount of muscle mass that you retain on your body during a cut will be correlated to the ability to retain the same intensity that you train with during your mass phase. The more strength you lose during your cut, the more muscle you will lose. There it is. It's as simple as that. I'm overcomplicating it. The more strength you lose, the more muscle you will lose during your cut. All right? So your goal needs to be to retain as much strength as possible. And the way I like to do that on my current program, so at the moment, just for reference, I'm dropping down from, I'm currently about 103. I want to get down to 93 by the 4th of November. It's literally 8 weeks on Monday. So I've got to drop like another 9 kilos or so in the next 8 weeks, okay? Roughly speaking. How am I doing that? Okay, I'm on a really cool program at the moment whereby I'm doing a 4-day split, in the week with bodybuilding methodologies, where I'm focusing on connection and isolation predominantly. And then on the 5th day, which is a Sunday for me, my 5th training day in the week, is a session exclusively focused on strength. So it's the big moves, it's your bench presses, it's your heavy rows, it's your deadlifts, it's your dips, and so on and so forth. And by having a separate session where I'm exclusively focused on strength and lifting heavy slag iron, I am finding that I'm being able to retain a lot of strength and retain subsequently a lot of muscle and density to my physique, okay? So my advice is create a program by which, yeah, you're on a diet, obviously, you're training focused on bodybuilding methodologies, but have a session whereby you are integrating the big lifts, you are integrating some formalized, structured strength progression, and program it in a way where it's not going to impede on your sessions to follow, the bodybuilding sessions to follow. Now, if you're unsure what that looks like, you're welcome to jump on my plan if you'd like to, okay? I've got a tremendous app, okay, a community app, Built by Titanium community app, okay, where it's got my programs that work for me, the programs that have worked exceptionally well for my clients over the last several years. You can get access to all of these, okay. You get access to structured meal plans for your specific needs as well. You get access to my community where there'll be more people who are on the program as well. You can see all the information about it, all right? But it's literally, you can jump on that on my app. You can download my app. It's £25 a month, guys, for fuck's sake. 25 quid a month, all right, for the programs that I'm on and the programs that have worked exceptionally well for my clients. This is like my entry level. You can always, inquire about one-to-one coaching with me as well. But if you're interested in downloading my app where you can get immediate access to tried and tested programs that have worked for me and my clients, nutrition plans, and so on and so forth, then just literally click the link in my bio, okay, in my Instagram bio, or just visit literally www.builtbytitanium.co.uk and click on the community app option, and it will give you all the information there. It's no commitment. You can cancel at any point through the app. It's not that you're tied down. It's just £25 a month for all of that, okay? So check that out, guys, if that's something you're interested in, okay? All right, so a few more questions coming through here on YouTube. Oh, I love this one from Shane. This is a great question. Okay. What is the main lesson you want to instill upon your son growing up? And equally, what was the main lesson you felt your wonderful dad taught you? Mate, brilliant question, that. I'm going to start by answering the second one, okay? The second question, I can say, it comes to mind right off the bat. The one thing, the biggest thing, I say the one thing, my dad taught me so much, and he still does even to this day, but the biggest thing my dad taught me and my siblings growing up was that the most important thing is effort. All he wanted to see was us give our very, very best. That's all he cared about. And that word would always come up. Whether it was, in a football match, on the drive home we'd be talking about effort, on the way there we'd be talking about effort. All he wanted to see was us give everything. Whether it was school reports, we had school reports and we had what were called effort checks as well, which is where you get your grades, but you also get like your effort for homework, effort for classwork, and effort for something else as a score, one being the best. If we had twos, he'd be questioning it. He'd be so disappointed. Like, he did not give a damn about our capabilities as such, like in terms of our grades, although obviously he pushed us for that too, but he was more focused on process, and he wanted to instill this idea that if you put in your best, you're going to be your best, but you're also going to beat the people that are potentially more gifted than you, but not giving it 100%. That's all he ever cared about, and all he ever still cares about is about effort. So that's huge. I mean, he's taught me a hell of a lot, but I think my work ethic comes from both of my parents, but that's something that Dad used to drill home all the time. Effort is everything. To answer the first element of your question there, Shane, what is the main lesson you want to instill upon your son growing up? So I want Wolf to pursue what he wants to pursue. That's the most important thing. And I believe that in doing so, that's the only real way to secure a level of happiness and fulfillment in your life. I really want to instill that on him. And that's why, I do my own thing, because I really don't want to be that hypocritical father who says, son, do what you want to do, and then I'm working some fucking job that I hate, right? So I can say that honestly, I'm doing what I want to do. I help men all around the world build more confidence using their physique development as a vehicle towards that, helping men embrace their physicality and their masculinity and just look and feel fucking phenomenal, to be physically and mentally indestructible. Okay. And instantly, those are the things that I want Wolf to have as well. I want him to be pursuing what he wants to pursue because he has confidence in himself, because he has confidence in his own abilities. I want him to be happy. I want him to be healthy. I want him to have self-belief that he can do anything he wants to do and be great at it. So, I mean, I think it's what most parents want for their kids, right? But the number one lesson that I want to instill in him is that confidence comes from results. Confidence comes from overcoming adversity and realizing that you were fucking capable of getting past that hurdle. And yeah, confidence comes from having a track record, right? That, hey, look, all these things that I got through, all this adversity, all this resistance that I overcame, I can overcome anything to come. That's true confidence. When you look back and you're like, well, fuck me, I can achieve anything because look at all the shit that I've overcome, both voluntary and consequential. Like life will throw all kinds of adversity at you, but also I want to encourage him to seek that adversity, to put himself into uncomfortable situations, to see a direct correlation between adversity, particularly voluntary adversity, and growth. So yeah, there's a lot there to take in, and I love that question, mate. It's a very, very reflective one. Freya and I talk about this quite a lot, actually, to be honest. We both want the same things for him, ultimately wanting to be happy and healthy. But I do think that comes from living a life that you want to live. You said, I knew it was going to be a good answer. Your dad is an incredible person. Mate, I really appreciate that. It's a very kind thing to say. And I know what you're going through at the moment, so it's even more poignant. You said, confidence is the willingness to always try new things. It's something I want to instill in my two. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk more on the phone about, or when we next meet up. I know obviously it's a bit challenging with you being in Germany, but it's one of those conversations over a beer. That's always good to speak about, you know, what we want for our kids. You with your household full of women, your two daughters. It's amazing. Okay, right. So let's have a look here. I'm going to come back to that question actually about the dinner party. Okay, historical figureheads that I'd invite to a dinner party, and what would I make them? I'll start with what I'd make. Okay, I wouldn't make shit. I'll be very honest. The only thing that I do whenever we host is I do barbecue. Okay, I love just fucking around with fire in any way, shape, or form, and barbecues are a way for me to do that. So yeah, I would do a barbecue, but if it wasn't summertime, it would be Freya. Freya's a phenomenal cook. Honestly, like she has like a number of recipes that she can just create right off the bat. But if I say to her, right, let's create, or can you maybe try making this? She'll nail it first time. She'll be like in a massive, massive panic about how to do it, and assume that it's going to be absolute dog shit. But she always nails it, and she does two things she did recently phenomenally well. Was she did beef Wellington, okay, and it was absolutely beautiful with fillet of beef, okay. So a big slab of fillet steak, which, you know, we had some very good friends over. We don't see very often, so we pushed the boat out a little bit. Fillet steak it's not cheap, so you don't want to fuck it. So she was conscious of that. Obviously, went to the butcher's, got a nice bit of fillet steak, and she absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. It was beautiful. It's one of my favourite meals, beef Wellington. And the couple that we had come over, my man Derek, he loves beef Wellington. So yeah, it would be beef Wellington, I think, that we'd cook. As for who we'd invite, I'm really stuck on this one. I guess I'm going to have to pick, like, I don't know, 4 people, all right? Historical figureheads. Fuck, this is really stumping me. This is really, really stumping me. I just can't, I cannot, I'm having a bit of a mind blank right now. There are so many different options. I'm thinking of really controversial ones just because, you know, it'd be a fucking weird insight to spend time with some of these people that I'm thinking of. I'm just thinking of the most horrendous people on the planet, but yeah, it wouldn't be for the enjoyment of their company. It would just be for like an insight into what these people, these figureheads are like, you know, in the context of their own downtime. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back to that one. All right, let's have a look here. See some more questions coming through here. Okay, Shane just mentioned here. I know, JC. Well, fuck, that was a brilliant answer to the wolf question. That spoke to me, coach. Oh, pleasure, man. Of course. Shane, he said, confidence breeds happiness. I truly don't believe anyone can be really genuinely happy when they're not confident. That's why what you do is so important. Yeah, no, I agree. I believe that confidence is it's the catalyst, it's the key to opening up the doors for a life that you want to live. I think without confidence, life becomes so closed. And like a key example of this, which I'm sure many have seen in the past within themselves or, you know, people they know, is the people that lack confidence, they intentionally close off their lives. They intentionally shut off friendships. They intentionally shut off socializing. They intentionally reduce their own opportunities in the workplace and in their careers. They play it safe. They become recluses. And I believe that life expands in alignment or in conjunction with increasing confidence. So the more confidence you have, the more your life opens up. Okay, right. Another question here. Is Julian Fernandez your other name? So recently I got a bloody fucking blue tick thing on Instagram because I kept getting issues with people causing me shit through emulating my pages, through, you know, creating fake accounts and all this kind of bollocks. And Instagram wasn't taking the reports. Like loads of my friends were reporting these pages, but they would just stay up. And then I learned that when you have a verified badge, you have access to the support team. Okay, so that's the main upside to having the verified badge on Instagram. Cost me $11.99, guys, per month. But a lot of my work is done through my Instagram page. It's taken a lot of time and energy to build it. So yeah, it's worth spending the $11.99 a month on, you know, given that I now have access to the support team. And so when I have a page come up copying me, faking being me, so on and so forth, catfishing me, I can report it, and usually within a few hours the page is gone, which is great, because I'm verified to be me, right, and nobody else. So Julian Fernandez now shows in my Instagram, because that's my name. My name is not Julian Titanium. It is fucking hilarious that some people believe that's my name. I mean, I'm grateful, you know, I'm not laughing at you, but it is fucking hilarious. Like, imagine if that was actually my name. Imagine being born with the surname Titanium. I wouldn't be coaching, guys. I wouldn't be a fitness guy. I'd be a fucking, I don't know, I'd be saving the planet with a name like that. So yeah, Julian Fernandez is my actual name, and Julian Titanium is kind of like my brand name, as it were. I've had this question before, so I might as well kind of segue it here, but like, how did that come to be is often a question people ask, like, where does that come from? Basically, when I graduated my undergrad, I set up my own PT company, Titanium Training, and then I set up an Instagram page, and then it was Julian Titanium Training, and then, yeah, eventually it just became Julian Titanium. Simple as that, really. And so that's now become the brand name. But listen, guys, I've been on for an hour now, So I'm going to call it there. Thanks for your questions. Good fun. Enjoyed this. And yeah, I will be doing this every Saturday. Okay. I usually put up a story post, a couple of days before. I did it like yesterday to get some questions coming in. I'm just going to have a real quick scoot through on Instagram to see what questions here came up, and I can answer a few. I'll go right to the start. Looks like lots of people logged in for this one, which is cool. Remember guys, I go live 4 times a week. My schedule will be posted on a Sunday, but I go live 4 times a week for my training sessions, for the Q&A. Jump in, all right? The series I'm doing at the moment is The Cut. Like I said, 8 weeks left to drop 9 kilos of body fat, ready for photo shoots for a new business that I'm launching in November. It's a swimwear line and gymwear line. It's going to be called Titanium. Okay, more to follow on this, by the way, guys. And the slogan is work out, get hot. Okay, it's going to be beautiful swimwear garments. We're releasing 2 garments. Can't wait to tell you more about it. In late November, I will be creating a separate page and a landing page as well for you guys to register your interest and to get updates. But here we go. Let's have a look for some of these questions here. Right, so real quickly then. So bench press, inhale, exhale, or holding breath till your set's complete. Definitely don't hold your breath, mate. Hell no. I've never heard of that. That's probably the one exercise you don't want to do that, because if you go into an oxygen deficit, cut off oxygen supply to your brain, and you fucking collapse on a bench press, you're probably going to die. You're probably going to drop that weight on your neck. Okay, so definitely I exhale at the top of the rep, so I maintain tension throughout the rep. I use the Valsalva method where I come down, create tension, and then push, and then at the top, then reset and begin again. So don't hold your breath on a bench press, dude. No way. Let's have a look here. Just running through some of these. Okay. For targeted triceps, I'm a huge fan of bench dips. Great for supersets. Yeah, I agree, definitely. So I'll often work a bench dip after a different triceps move, because otherwise you're going to do like 1,000 reps. But if you're going in, like you said, in a superset from a pre-exhausted state, it is a phenomenal tool to really burn out the triceps. I find them super effective. The key is to push through this portion of your hand, okay? So the outside of your hand, and to push backwards, not just up. If you push straight up and forwards, you're going to hit most of your chest and shoulders. Push back over your hands. Okay. Peter Health 75 asked, how important are aesthetics to you? Do you enjoy the admiration your physique receives? I think it's important to build the physique that you like. Okay. Now, functionality in terms of strength is important to me. A good level of fitness is important to me. But I come from a bodybuilding background as well as a powerlifting background. So of course the aesthetic is important to me. I think if you like the way you look, then you'll feel more comfortable in your skin, and we all have an aesthetic that we enjoy and that we like. Some guys like proportionately, big arms in a physique. Some guys want to build a physique where the shoulders are really prominent. Some guys like the aesthetic of having big legs. I just like, I'm less about the bodybuilder look these days, but I like a ripped, lean, athletic, hinting at a bodybuilder kind of look. Okay, I don't necessarily like enjoy the attention. Sorry, you said, do you enjoy the admiration your physique receives? I mean, I wouldn't be human if I were to say no, I hate it. Of course, it's the alternative is getting shit for how bad my body looks, right? Which is not a nice feeling. So it's always nice to get a compliment. It's always nice to get a compliment. Is that the reason why I train and maintain a physique? No. I enjoy the side effects that come with having a strong, fit, aesthetic physique. I enjoy looking good and feeling good. I enjoy mostly being an example and having a kind of a tool by which I can hopefully inspire other people to engage in a fitness journey and work with me such that I can help them. And I think the way you look has a huge impact on garnering the initial interest for someone to, have a conversation or ask you a question about physique development. Okay. You said, as for a massive part being nutrition and what's done in the cooking sector, what is your go-to meal for good macronutrient coverage? It's okay. So I wouldn't say I go for an appropriate split per meal. I think over the course of the day, I hit the perfect macros for whatever phase that I'm in. So it's never so much in a single meal. But if I could like create an ideal dinner, it would be something like a sirloin steak with green veg, like mixed green veg or roast vegetables, a serving of new potatoes, and maybe a couple of eggs. That sort of meal would be fucking spot on. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, great. Okay, guys, so I got to call it now because an hour has passed, and so I will leave you all to it. But thanks for jumping on. Okay, next one will be next week. Like I say, schedule is going to be going up for lives over the next week for training sessions. Jump on my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe, guys. I'm in that very early phase where I'm just trying to build up some momentum with YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. I'm an absolute small fry on there. I want to help as many people get an insight, a transparent insight into what's involved in this whole process of getting into shape. I want to show people the unadulterated, unedited insights into my training, into my food, into my lifestyle management, so on and so forth, and just give you guys a really honest insight into what's required, how you do it, hopefully inspire some people to take action, bring you in on this journey, and teach you as much as I can throughout the process. So subscribe to my YouTube, Twitch, Kick, whatever one you use. Okay, it's the same handle across the board, Julian Titanium, and I'll see you guys there. Have a great one. Cheers.